Crossover networks, crossover adjustments, crossover settings, two-way speaker setups, three-way speaker setups, 4, 5. Does it ever end? So here's the question. How do I set crossovers? What does that do? How many drivers should I have? Well, I'm going to show you a demonstration that I prepared. Now in this demonstration, I'm going to be explaining what crossovers do. So up here, I've created a crossover on this top track that is 3,000 to 20K. Down here in the middle, I have created a crossover on this track that is 100 hertz to 3,000 hertz. And down here at the bottom, I've created a track that plays from 0 to 100 hertz. So this simulates tweeters, mids, and subwoofer. And to show you what the differences are whenever I play them, first I'm going to play all three tracks together. Now this is I took stereo track and turned it into 3 mono tracks to do this. So let's play them all together once I get it figured out. Okay, let's play them all together. So we're going to play them again, but this time I'm going to take out different sections to show you what it sounds like whenever we lose those parts. First we'll take out the tweeter. That's the 3,000 and up. We remove the tweeters. Let's put those back. We'll take out the subwoofer. We'll take out the mids. Now what do y'all notice about that? There's hardly any information left, right? When you just have the tweeters and the subs playing, there's hardly any information. Now what's interesting is if I turn the mids back on and mute the sub and mute the tweeters, man, most of the song is still there, right? I mean, sure, it comes to life when you add the tweeters and subs. Thing is, there's still enough information left between 100 hertz and 3,000 hertz that you actually can hear in the whole song. I mean, most of it. And that is because this is 80% of what you hear, more than 80%. That's why picking your mid driver is extremely important. It also depends on where you set your crossovers too. Because if you're wanting to hear your highs in this speaker, and moving this crossover point down some will allow you to do that. The thing is, the more information you ask a single driver to play, the less it's going to be able to play that perfectly. So let's zoom in a little bit and I'll show you what I mean. Remember, the center one is the mid. So, looking at this far zoomed in, you can see the subwoofer has an easy job. It's got a very simple wave to play. That's just a drum beat, but it's just a simple, nice, easy wave. We go in a little further. There's nothing complicated there. That's a simple wave. Look at that. The subwoofer's got an easy job. Now look what's going on up here in the mid-range. This is where things get crazy. So you see this here? This is a drum beat that lines up with this beat here. Let me zoom in some more. I'm going to get way in here close. It's kind of hard to move it at this point, but I want to get back to that spot. So let's drop a pin. Oh, that was a screw up. Okay, the point I'm trying to make is, right, yeah. So the reason this is so messed up, because this is a simple beat. It goes along with this one, right? This hump right here is the same hump as this hump, right? These two are the same. This is going up and down, same slopes. What's different is this driver is also having to play this information in here. You see these little bits and pieces? This is pieces of what's going on up here. And also pieces of information that this or this aren't playing. So this driver here is very busy. It's having to do the bump, bump, bump to match these humps. But it's also having to do this on the same side. Now, if you imagine the speaker cone moving, it's moving in and out like this, right? But it's having to do this. It's also having to do the fast jiggles all at the same time. That's a lot of work on that speaker cone. Now I'm going to redo this, and I'm going to show you a different crossover using four-way crossover. All right. So in this setup, I have 0 to 100 down here. I have 100 to 1,000 here. I have 1,000 to 3,000 here, and then 3,000 to 20K up here. So we're doing basically a four-way setup. Now listen to the difference and look at the difference in what we can do when we add another driver, which is what we've done. First, we'll listen to a little bit of it, and then I'll start pulling speakers. This is all four drivers together. Now let's mute the tweeters. Okay? Now let's mute this low mid. Let's mute that sub. Now this driver, notice it's not playing those drums anymore. It's mainly just playing the guitar. And if we take that out, now we're handling the upper drums and a little bit of the lower guitar. This is a lot less busy right here. A lot less busy. And that's the sub by itself, by the way. All right, so going in again to look at the different, what these frequencies are actually having these drivers do. Okay, what the speakers are having to do. Again, subwoofer, it's got an easy job. It's just playing a sine wave, basically. One signal. This guy's still pretty busy right here. Get right in there. So this is during one of the beats. But you can see there's a lot less information being portrayed. So it's not as busy right here. This is more about two frequencies mainly. And then up here there's not anything at this current spot. And then the tweeter, of course, is quite busy. It's handling a lot of information. There we go. That's a better example. So this guy looks a lot less busy, and this guy looks a lot less busy. So in this particular setup, let me zoom in some more. Look at the difference now. We've got a nice easy sine wave down here. We've got a really easy sine wave right here. We've got almost a completely simple sine wave right here. And therefore, nothing is having to do a lot of extra work. So as you can see, the more drivers you incorporate into that process, the easier it is for each driver to do its job. So when you have a driver that's playing a nice clean wave, another driver is playing its nice clean wave, another driver is doing its thing, all working together, they produce beautiful sound. When you've got one big driver that's trying to do all that at the same time, it ain't going to do any of it very well. So the more components you have in your component set, the better. There are limitations in a car. I mean, obviously you've only got room for so much stuff. It also costs more, and it's more complicated the more drivers you add, and that ladder, the more complicated it gets. You need more amplifiers, you need a DSP with way more channels, you need a lot more work getting them all lined out. Plus, you want all that sound coming from as close together as you can get it. So there's a limit, of course, but keeping that in mind, this is exactly how you get it done. So you decide how many drivers you want, how much work you want to put in, and then you can set your crossovers to match up so that each driver is playing the frequency range that it is designed and good at playing. There you go.